Welcome to Slow News Day Live. My name is Steve Poikinen. I am back this afternoon. Thank you for joining me again. I'm having a little bit of fuckery going on with the laptop, so I hope this is coming through the way that it is intended. Please let me know in the chat if it's not. Yeah. A lot of left independent media shows we'll talk about the need to break up social media monopolies, break up Facebook, break up Twitter. Even a couple of presidential candidates have mentioned breaking monopolies as a part of their nonstop pander fest. And while some of them may be genuine about that, it's a federal elections are rigged. I don't know what people are expecting to get out of them. Hey, Dingo. Hey, Karen. How's it going? At any rate, this actually did go a step further last month. Let me pull up my notes here real quick. Wrong notes. Right notes. There we go. So this is coming out of New York State, and there are a group of states investigating Facebook for potential violations of antitrust law. It's being led by New York Attorney General, but contains the attorney generals from Colorado, Florida, Iowa, Nebraska, North Carolina, Ohio, Tennessee, and the District of Columbia. District Attorney Letitia James said even the largest social media platform in the world must follow law and respect consumers. I'm sorry. And respect consumers. I am proud to be leading a bipartisan coalition of attorneys general in investigating whether Facebook has stifled competition and put users at risk. Now, Facebook just had to pay $5 billion to the Federal Trade Commission. Facebook has a backdoor built into the private messaging apps, WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger, so that anyone with whatever clearance or warrant or whatever can just waltz in on anyone's private conversations. Facebook exists because Zuckerberg stole an idea and then partnered with intelligence communities for seed money. There is just no legitimate reason whatsoever to think that Facebook is anything other than a horrific, monstrous organization that is out to make billions of dollars selling your private information. Even Facebook's co-founder, Chris Hughes, is helping these state attorney generals look into this antitrust thing. Chris Hughes, I don't know if you guys are familiar or not, but he has been very, very outspoken against Facebook for several years. He was recently dragged for saying Facebook should be broken up and other tech monopolies should be broken up. The Trump administration currently, in a separate case through the Justice Department, is looking into breaking up Apple and Google and a couple of other tech giants. So here's the thing. Here's where the problems start, because everyone agrees that a handful of social media or tech companies should not wield this much power and influence. History has taught us that the people who run these companies, own these corporations, or whose family name is on it, when these companies are broken up, those people become tremendously more wealthy. Rockefeller didn't become a billionaire until the first round of antitrust busting, and he had to break up U.S. Steel. Um, Historically, oh, that's right, Standard Oil. That's right. I'm sorry. Carnegie was U.S. Steel. Historically, what this means is you have a handful of people who immediately diversify their portfolio overnight and get into all of the related businesses that are associated with the breakup of their one monolith. What that generally means for the consumer is we have the illusion of choice. We have a bunch of different companies that provide the same or similar product all under the same parent company umbrella. So tech is going to mirror the media in terms of there are 6 companies that own 95% of the media outlets. We're going to see Zuckerberg and Jack, what's his name, and the folks at Apple. We're going to see them running all of these different subsidiary companies. Without with real consumer protection or without real worker protection, all this essentially means is that we have brand new outlets to get censored on. I'm sorry for being a little bit glum about this. I don't know. I think it's great that somebody is finally standing up to Facebook, and all these attorney generals from different states are coming together in order to do this. It's only about 10 years too late. And in fact, should have happened the very first time that Facebook was hauled in front of court over over the first time we found out that they were selling all of our private information. Trying to fully wake up and get myself ready to go do an 8-hour shift at work until midnight 30, and then turn around and open the joint at 7:30 in the morning, and then I have other shit going on tomorrow night. At any rate, Facebook finally feeling some heat for I don't know, being a giant evil fucking data harvesting, soul crushing monopoly. So yeah, I mean, I guess good for the state of New York for filing these charges and getting it out. Man, I had a couple of more things that I wanted to talk about here, and now I can't even remember. What, oh yeah, Think Progress. That's right. I guess left leaning, or what people assumed was left leaning outlet Think Progress finally shut down today. They had been, I guess, hanging on by a thread for a while. Think Progress is owned. It's the media arm of the Center for American Progress, which you guys may be familiar with as Neera Tanden's organization. Neera Tanden, of course, is this. I would be as willing to say that she's a far right figure, but she's a far right figure within the confines of the Democratic Party. An absolute batshit nuts Clinton loyalist. There's a great picture of Neera Tanden standing in front of Bill Clinton, and the look on her face is that of a religious acolyte in the presence of her spiritual master. Think Progress over the last several years has been one of the more frustrating websites that anyone could go to, not just in terms of the content that you found there, which was increasingly, if not overtly, pro right center Wall Street corporate talking point, but the site itself took four fucking ever to load up. It was an exercise in frustration 99% of the time. With Think Progress closing down. Now, it's not that we're necessarily losing, one of our last bastions of true progressive journalism in America. We're not. We're losing, near attendance vehicle with which to publish her own personal choice in propaganda. But what it did is it opened up a handful of people who have worked inside the DC Beltway as quote unquote journalists or in managerial or editorial positions. They're all now looking for work. Tom Steyer, the billionaire running for president, what to me it just encapsulates the whole neoliberal mindset perfectly. Tom Steyer has spent almost $9 million on Facebook ads. Who's Tom Steyer? I'm not exactly sure. I think he's a generic milquetoast white dude who decided that he had enough money to buy his way into the presidency. I don't know how that differs him from the Starbucks guy or John Delaney or any of the other milquetoast white dude billionaires who thought they could buy themselves into the presidency. But he's doing that. He spent almost $9 million on Facebook ads. And it turns out, just in scrolling Twitter and shit, I found out that the budget shortfall that Think Progress was experiencing was like a $3 million annual budget shortfall. Now, I can't even fathom a budget of any dollars. There's a lot I could do with $3 million. There's a lot of stories that I could get out. There's a lot of people that I could put to work for a living wage who would, in my opinion, be excellent, thorough researchers and actual fucking journalists for $3 million. What Tom Steyer did was he put out an offer to anyone who left Think Progress because they got shut down because they couldn't meet their fundraising, or they couldn't stay up. They couldn't pay anybody to stick around. He said, we're hiring in a couple of spots for the campaign here. We need this guy and a comms guy and blah, blah. So anyone who just got shut down on an organization that I could have floated in my sleep for the rest of my life and not miss that money, you can come work for me for the 2 more months that I'll be running for president. No severance. Yeah, fucking... That's peak neoliberal. I could have done something for your entire organization. I have that ability. I will pay you a little bit of money for a short amount of time if you come work for me, though, on my sinking ship. I had no interest in helping your sinking ship, even though the interests of Neera Tanden and Tom Steyer are at least financially aligned. But yeah, I think that your 17 years of experience will benefit my campaign for a month or two. So come on board. We'll cut you a couple of checks. You're a whore for money. You work for Think Progress. You should be right. You should be on board with this. Come on. Go to the chat. Tom Hartman wants who to start a race. Oh, Tom Steyer. Why does Tom Hartman care about what Tom Steyer is? Does Tom Hartman want that Steyer money? Is that it? I don't know. I stopped trying to figure out Tom Hartman a very long time ago. Tom Hartman is like he's like that ink teacher that you had in high school that was like people were, thought was cool or inspiring or whatever. And then like you meet the guy outside of that school setting and he's just a degenerate douchebag piece of shit, or a complete real life disappointment. And what you were familiar with was the persona, or them actually doing the job that they were paid for, and they're paid to be helpful or informative to the best of their ability. And in real life they're actually just kind of assholes. That's Tom Hartman to me. And I'm sure Tom Hartman is a perfectly nice guy, but I'm also sure that anyone with his platform who purports to have the views that he does is lying through his teeth when he promotes centrism. And I also think that Kyle Kulinski is his Padawan. I think that in a handful of years, Kyle will be having very serious and very frank conversations on the necessity to keep the free market propped up and alive. I totally forget who Mark Pocan is, but I know that name. That's my kid. I may have to cut this short. So I'm going to cut this short. I will be right back on.